a personality shaped by being an athlete and a background in mainstream sports media, I found that the stories I was most interested in telling were the ones often overlooked, the ones that might not otherwise be told, the ones that show the intangible and not just the highlight reel. The Sports Council is about highlighting the great, the good, the unique, and everything in between in the Pacific Northwest sports world. I'm Jamie Council. Thanks for joining me.
You're listening to the Sports Council on 1340 ESPN, the Tri-Cities leader in sports.
Gisa Stadium in Pasco, Washington. Home to the Tri-City Dust Devils, the High A affiliate of the Angels. The dugout that once held Russell Wilson. Gisa Stadium is home to the Russell Wilson bobblehead, as well as to the bobblehead of Erik the Peanut Guy.
Cities, when I say let's go, you yell Dust Devils. Let's go! Let's go! Let's go!
My name is Erik the Peanut Guy, or Erik Mertens, and my title is on-field host for the Tri-City Dust Devils.
I'm sure you just saw that in a paper.
Yeah.
And applied for it. How did that come to be?
It actually happened pretty organically, and I feel really blessed for the path that's taken me here. I grew up in the Tri-Cities and loving baseball. When I was a kid, growing up in Kennewick, almost everyone played baseball. It's sunny here, it's warm, and I played t-ball, baseball, thanks to my parents. And in 2001, I was a senior in high school, and that was the year the Dust Devils moved to town. And there was the Tri-City Posse, who were an independent professional team here before that, and my family loved coming out to games here, watching the Posse. But I was super excited when we were having an affiliated minor league team move back to the Tri-Cities. And that was also the year I was a senior in high school, and my dad was like, you need to get a job. So one of my best friends at the time had signed on to be a peanut vendor out here, and they needed a second peanut vendor. So he invited me to come work out here with him.
Okay.
That's how it all started.
It started from you actually being a peanut vendor.
Yes, yeah. And so I did that just for 2 years. It was Johnny the Peanut Guy and Erik the Peanut Guy, and we would juggle at the front gates, and he would bring his guitar, and we would write songs and do skits. So we were kind of the de facto mascots of the team, just because we would sell peanuts in the crowd and Cracker Jack, but we'd also try to entertain everybody. And then after 2 years, Johnny moved on. He's a youth pastor in Gig Harbor now.
Okay.
That's what he moved to do. And I stuck around. And the current on-field host at the time decided to move on as well. And so the Dust Devils needed an on-field host. And everyone kind of knew me in the stands because I would walk around and have fun with people. And so the management at the time said, hey, could you continue selling peanuts, but then in between innings run down and host the on-field contests? And so now, like 20 years later, I'm doing mostly the hosting, very little of the peanut selling.
Why baseball?
So I moved to the Tri-Cities when I was 6 years old, and my parents immediately signed me up for t-ball. And my whole life, I've never liked change. And so I remember I was like, I don't want to play something new. It was kind of scary to do something new. But then I fell in love with it, and it was outside. And here in the Tri-Cities, blue skies, fun outdoor opportunities. I met a lot of great friends. I was a little boy playing t-ball and baseball. I also remember the year we moved here was 1989, which is right when Ken Griffey Jr. was coming on the scene. And so we've always been big Mariners fans. And so being a fan of baseball and playing baseball, my senior year of high school at Kennewick High, I played with some great guys, played for some great coaches. All I ever wanted to do was play varsity baseball at Kennewick High growing up. And I finally got that chance. But I was not good enough to continue after high school. I was not good enough for college ball. And so that was the year the Dust Devils moved to town, was the year I graduated. What I was good at, though, was being on the microphone. I was in choir, I was in theater, I was a public speech major at Gonzaga University, and so I really liked hosting things and emceeing things. And so this combination of being on the mic, using my communication background in a baseball setting, that's like my dream come true. So that's why this means so much to me.
Yeah, it's kind of mashing together everything.
Yeah.
And when you first walk into Giza, of course, you see Russell Wilson and then Erik the Peanut Guy. So you literally have a statue next to Russell Wilson.
Man, yeah. It's still very surreal to me. And I'm just daily when I come and clock in for work and get ready to work a Dust Devils game, and then I see a larger than life, I think it's taller than me, bobblehead statue of myself. It's just pure gratitude. It's pure gratitude because that's all the front office here and some amazing sponsors who sponsored the bobblehead. I never in my wildest dreams thought that would happen. And I've always thought, okay, I want to stay with the Dust Devils as long as I can. Maybe after I pass away decades from now, they'll like retire my apron or something. You know, like I had kind of these silly dreams. But to have a permanent structure to, I don't know, to commemorate what I've been blessed to do here is the biggest blessing. So I just thank everyone in the front office and the sponsors for doing that. And this is the best part too. My dad passed away 6 years ago, and he loved coming to Dust Devils games, and they put his initials on the back of the bobblehead. So if you ever see an EM at the base of that life-size Erik the Peanut Guy bobblehead, those are my initials too, but they're my dad's, Ed Mertens. So that means even more.
And that's why they put them on there.
For my dad.
Okay,
Yeah.
That's a nice little peanut.
Yeah, hey. Yes, yeah.
And with that bobblehead, how did it come about? Like, was it just there one day?
Yeah, so it was a complete surprise to me, and they'd been working on it. Later, I found out they'd been working on it during the 2019 season and off season, and this thing, I think was made overseas, and so it had to be shipped, and it's humongous, and it was this whole process. And they were going to unveil it on opening day 2020. And when I walked into work, it was going to be standing there. But as we all know, the 2020 season did not happen for any minor league team. And so Daryl Ebert, who's our general manager here, vice president, and also a dear friend of mine, he reached out to me that summer and he said, hey, we've missed you. I've missed you. Do you want to meet at the ballpark and we can grab a beer and sit up on Dusty's deck and connect? And I've been missing that. I've been missing this. Like we all did, but in a special way, I was missing Dust Devils in Giza Stadium that year. So I showed up, and it wasn't just Daryl; it was the entire front office staff at the time. And I thought that was kind of weird, but they're friends of mine too. So I said, "Yeah, let's all grab a beer up on Dusty's deck." But when we turned the corner to walk to Dusty's deck, my giant head of the bobblehead was staring back at me. So that's how they surprised me with it.
That's really fun.
Yeah.
The Russell Wilson one was there before.
Yes, as it should be. Yeah, Russell Wilson, although, all the Seahawks fans might have mixed emotions now that he's no longer with the Hawks. But he is one of our most famous Dust Devils alum, and especially being here in Washington, So, yeah, his bobblehead is like, the one. Actually, I juggle at the front gate and greet people when they come in for every Dust Devils games. And it's really fun because some visitors will come from out of town, or even some locals will come and say, oh, Russell Wilson, and they want to get a picture with his bobblehead. And I'll be standing there juggling in my apron and bow tie. And then they'll like turn to their mom and dad, like, who's this guy? Like looking at the bobblehead. And I'm like, yeah, who is that guy?
You're just juggling.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm right here. But I completely get it. I'd rather get my photo with Russell Wilson too.
You know what? But you're in the photos.
That's right. Yeah. I'm in the back. Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned your dad, Ed Mertens, am on there.
Yeah.
There's still a fund that was started with him.
Yeah.
I know you've explained it to me before, but can you explain the fund, how it came to be, and what exactly it is?
Well, thanks for asking about that. I could talk about my dad all day, every day. He's the reason I'm here, literally, but also he's the reason that I'm working with the Dust Devils. when my sister and I were little kids, he signed us up for speech contests, which sound like the weirdest things. But he said, no, having good public speaking skills will take you far in life. And it's because of that. My sister is a theater producer. She's incredibly talented. She works in theater, and I work in baseball, but I MC events and host events. And so my dad's a huge part of that, probably the biggest part of why we do what we do. Anyway, when I started working here, he'd come to games with my mom to support me, and he would usually buy a little souvenir in the team store with his own money. But he'd find a kid sitting around him, maybe a kid having a rough day, or maybe an adult with special needs, or maybe a grandparent who was with 2 little grandkids. And he'd always want to like treat somebody with his own money, but he never wanted any attention for it. So what he would do is he'd go buy the souvenir and then come find me when I was running around the ballpark and say, Eric, the guy sitting in, section H, row 5, he's got 2 little kids with him. One of them has special needs. I bought a squishy ball for the 2 kids and maybe a hat for the grandpa or whatever, and he'd want me to go give it to them, but he'd be very adamant every time. Don't tell him it's from me. I don't care. I don't want that. Tell him it's from you or from the Dust Devils. And so over the years, dozens of people, maybe hundreds of people got little gifts from the Dust Devils, but they'd really be from my dad. And the Dust Devils do a great job too. We do a good job trying to comp some things or trying to treat people, but my dad did it on his own. And so when my dad passed away, 2 things happened. The leadership here in the front office made a little gift cabinet for my dad in the information station, and there's a plaque with my dad's name on it talking about how he was the secret gift giver, and the team will stock that cabinet with little souvenirs. And so throughout the season, if I see a kid or an adult that could use a little pick-me-up, I'll go grab the souvenir ball and give it to them. And it's from my dad, but it's also from the team. But the second thing that happened was equally as amazing. Fans started handing me cash, just like a 20 or a 10, sometimes a 50. And I said, thanks, what is this? Like, I don't get tipped that much selling peanuts. They said, no, this is for your dad. This is for what your dad did. I was like, what? And they said, well, your dad gave away gifts to kids. We read it in his obituary, and we want to make sure that can continue to happen. So organically, because of our amazing community here and the amazing people who are Dust Devils fans, there's been a fund that just came out of nowhere. We call it Ed's Fund after my dad. And so every now and then, if there's something I want to give someone and it's more than just a little souvenir ball, maybe it's something a little more costly, I can use that fund to buy it in the team's store and give it to them. And I always say, yes, it's from the Dust Devils and it's from our fans who donate this money, but it's also from my dad.
That's right, fans. That was your beer matters.
And I think it's really, like, it's just so, like you said, organic, and there's just something about that it really shows what you get in small towns, small communities, where they mean something. Like, it's small doesn't necessarily mean small, With that being said, minor league baseball is kind of a small community, and you're not just a supporter for the Dust Devils, but you're a supporter for minor league baseball as well. How many ballparks have you been to?
Oh man, good question. I've been to over 150 affiliated minor league ballparks. Some of them aren't active anymore. Like the one in downtown Portland, I went when they were affiliated minor league, and now the soccer team kicked them out. So they don't have, Portland doesn't have an affiliate team. So 150 minor league ballparks, probably 30 collegiate wood bat ballparks and independent ballparks. And I've been to 25 major league ballparks. We're working to get like a better looking map, but I made this one myself, so I'm very proud of it. I bought a poster and put it on a
DIY?
Yeah. Put it on a pushpin board. These are all the ballparks I've been to around the country and in Canada, and a few in Canada. All the silver ones are minor league ballparks. All the navy blue ones are major league ballparks, like their St. Louis Cardinals that Karina and I saw last year. And then the different colors stand for like college wood bat, independent, different levels baseball. This August, Karina and I are doing all the ballparks in Texas, which is going to be an adventure. But you're right, the upper like Midwest, like the central part of the country, I'm ashamed because I have a lot of friends from the Dakotas and Minnesota and Wisconsin, but that'll be next.
Okay.
That wasn't very concise, but that's the numbers. Those are the numbers.
Those are the numbers. And what do you like about minor league baseball?
Oh my gosh, what a great question with hours and hours of answers that can be said. You talked about it, Jamie. You talked a lot about like the community and how smaller towns, even if they're not small, it's this like small town, hometown vibe at a minor league ballpark. I love visiting other minor league ballparks because no one is upset at a ballpark unless something horrible just happened and they spilled their beer or something. But you go to a ballpark to have fun with friends or family or even by yourself. It's a place for fun and to be outside and enjoy life. You don't have to go there, you know what I mean? Like, so most people are really happy to be there. So it's a happy place. Also, minor league ballparks, more than major league ballparks, in my opinion, capture the local culture and the local spirit so much better. So everything from the team names, we were the Dust Devils, and you and I just experienced a little mini Dust Devil here on the field like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. No seeds got in my eyes.
Yeah. We were careful. We shielded our eyes. But all the fun team names and logos, and now there's like a plethora of alternate identities. Yeah. So we have the Viñeros, which honors our Latino community and also our wine industry in the Tri-Cities. We have the Columbia River Rooster Tails, which is awesome, and it commemorates the hydroplane races, boat race weekend, and our amazing river here. And that's just here. And so every minor league team around the country has something about that. And you also get the opportunity to sit down next to someone who might be the mayor of the city, or it might be the janitor of the local high school, or it might be someone who's lived in town for 60 years and has been going to baseball games their whole life in this one seat. Or you might visit other ballpark tourists like I am sometimes, and you get to know the community so well. And there's the level of civic pride that comes with minor league baseball is unlike anything any other sport can offer, in my humble opinion. I love all other sports, especially minor league sports, but something about minor league baseball, sitting in the stands for 9 innings for 100 days out of the year, or whatever it is, really brings the community together.
And you are a souvenir person. I mean, you hand them out, but you are also a fan of souvenirs.
Yeah.
Talk about how many ballparks you've been to. How many hats do you have?
Oh my gosh. Well, okay. So years ago, when I started visiting other ballparks, I wanted to collect something. And if I was smart, I would have started collecting like souvenir baseballs or like little pins that cost $5 or whatever. But instead, I was incredibly attracted to the on-field hats with the team logos, which now cost a lot more than $5, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for every ballpark I've been to, I buy an on-field hat. My wife and I were just in Walla Walla last night at a Walla Walla Sweets game. And I've been to Sweets games before, but I had to buy another hat. I had to buy another Sweets hat last night. So I have over 400 minor league baseball hats. And they adorn our living room. I just got married 9 months ago, and my wife is amazing. She also loves baseball and hats, and so she has her own hat wall now. She wears the adjustable dad hats, and I wear the fitted hats.
Okay.
And so just the colors and the logos just make me so happy. Whenever I need to like calm down after maybe a rough day at work, or maybe I'm having a gray day or something, I'll go sit in our hat room and feel better.
So, do you have a favorite?
I do. Well, like, they're all my favorites, but if I had to choose, the answer I usually give is the Asheville Tourists. They're in Asheville, North Carolina, and their ballpark, McCormick Field, is really historic and really old. But what I love about their brand are the really cool colors. It's like mint and jade and navy blue. And their whole motif there is like a night under the stars, like watching baseball. And you're in the Blue Ridge Mountains. It's kind of like watching a baseball game around a campfire. And so their logo's like the man in the moon, and he's got like a knapsack. And some of their logos have stars in them, and they're glow in the dark. But as a Mariners fan, I like teal a lot too. So they got like different shades of teal. That's my favorite.
You love ballparks.
Yes.
That's known.
Yeah.
So much so, you got married in a ballpark, specifically Giza Stadium.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, there's nowhere else I would have wanted our wedding reception than at a ballpark, but especially the Dust Devils home field, Giza Stadium. And again, we have the front office to thank for this. I mean, good people work here. And I'm not just saying that because I also work here. But the people in the front office are some of the best people I know. They love each other. They love our community. They do this for the right reasons. And so they really did a lot to make sure we could have our wedding reception out here.
And yeah, Daryl and Brent definitely paid you to say good things.
Yeah.
So what were some of the things that you did getting married in a ballpark?
Yeah.
I mean, usually just the first dance or the bouquet toss.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you did?
Oh my gosh, we had so much fun. So Karina and I both grew up in Kennewick, going to St. Joe's grade school. So we got married at St. Joe's Church. That's our home church. And immediately after the wedding mass, everyone came out here for the big party, the big reception. And right when guests, oh no, right when our wedding guests showed up, they had kind of an experience of being baseball fans because we had Dusty greeting them at the front gate. We had Fred is one of our best ticket takers out here. He was there greeting people. We had a brass band, the Troubadours, playing kind of old-timey Americana music. We had the bouncy houses going. There was a caricature artist who comes out and does some Dust Devils games. We hired him, and he's amazing. He was out here. Instead of a bouquet toss, we had a baseball toss where Karina and I autographed the baseball and then threw it over our shoulder. Our guests, our friends and family could play catch on the field for a bunch of the time. We did have a dance floor, but the DJ was DJ BP, Brad Prescott, who's our stadium DJ here. He's the best DJ out there, but especially baseball. So he played some baseball music. Our food out here was ballpark barbecue food. It was picked up a little notch, for a wedding, but we had burgers and dogs. We had the mini donuts, Little Orbit's mini donuts out here. It was basically like coming to a Dust Devils game, but there was a dance floor, and it was a wedding. It was a party. And my mom said her favorite part, and the part where she just finally broke down, started crying, was for our exit, instead of throwing rice, or nowadays some couples have bubbles or sparklers to run through. We ran through, everyone lined up, and we ran through the tunnel of people, but they threw peanuts at us. And then we ran down and we had our final dance, our last dance of the night at home plate. And then from there we ran off into the sunset.
Oh my gosh.
It was magical. It was and there's no better thing in the Tri-Cities than sunset at Giza Stadium. I mean, I know I'm biased, but I love being here every night when the sun is setting, and that's what we had at our wedding.
What's it like being Mrs. Peanut Guy?
It's everything you'd imagine and more. It's magical. I actually have been asked for my autograph several times now, which is more than I thought. It's not perfect. I'm still working on it. It's probably different every time, so I feel a little bad about that. Because someone will introduce me as, this is Erik the Peanut Guy's wife. They're like, well, can I get your autograph? Like, they don't think anything of it, and I'm like, okay, I can barely write my own signature anyway. So that's been fun. But other than that, it's pretty exciting. Everywhere we go, every time we go on like a little trip or something, someone recognizes him. Actually, last year when we were in Little Rock, Arkansas, we were trying to take a selfie with the sunset in the background, and as we were taking it, I noticed someone was kind of coming up to us like this, and he's like, Erik the Peanut Guy? Karina? And he knew me, and we had never met him. It was a Twitter follower of Eric's, and he knew my name, so it's been a little shocking. But it's been fun, yeah.
Now you're adopted into the minor league baseball world.
Yes, yeah, more than I ever thought I would be. But it's fun. It's new for me, so, or at least like working in baseball and everything now.
Yeah, and then traveling around, seeing the different parks.
Yeah, I know I need to get my own map. My own little, with the little needles.
You interact with a lot of fans, a lot of ballparks.
Yeah.
What is the one thing that you want people to take away? What do you want your legacy to be?
Oh, wow.
Kind of heavy.
Yeah. Thank you for asking that. That's a good question. I've worked in ministry for 15 years, professional ministry, campus ministry. I've worked at different churches, and I love seeing people come together and really experiencing love and community. And I've seen that in ministry and on retreats and at church events. I've definitely seen that. Or one-on-one, prayer times. I also see it very clearly at a minor league ballpark, very clearly. For me, there's no difference between ministry and minor league baseball. And maybe not everyone sees it that way, but that's very clear to me. And so I was listening to a podcast on ministry by a priest I really look up to, and he was talking about how God unites people. If you want to see the footprint of God in your life, see where people come together and are unified rather than divided. And that's literally what happens for 9 innings out here. Again, you have people from all over the Tri-Cities and elsewhere. We have a dad and son who drive up from Umatilla for every game. We have people coming from all over, but we're all united. And my job is to get people to cheer together, to clap together, to laugh together. And then when we leave, I say goodbye to people at the gates when they're leaving. And even if the Dust Devils lose, which we don't enjoy because we're fans too, but even if the game didn't go the way we want it to, people are still smiling and hugging their kids. And the grandparents are talking about when they used to come out to Tri-City Adams games or Tri-City Triplets games, and so if I had to share what I hope my legacy would be, I hope that if people think of me, they don't just think of Erik the Peanut Guy, or they don't just think of me, but they think of my dad and my family, but also this awesome community we live in and the good times they had with their family and their friends at a Dust Devils game. That's what I hope they remember the most.
Yeah, and it all started with your dad taking you here as a kid.
Yes, exactly.
Until next time, I'm Jamie Council.